Welcome, everybody. Thoughts from the deep state, House of Prozaroff, the melting snowflake. Hey, just a little bit of a warning. If you're a hardcore GOP person, you might not want to listen to this because you're going to get upset. And I was open-minded, hoping that Trump would turn over a new leaf, but it's the same old GOP nuttiness. It's what the Democrats warned us of, and there was a claim that it was a lie, that Project 25 was not true, but they're running Project 25. I mean, proposing cuts to Pell grants, FEMA cuts, cuts to SNAP programs, cuts to housing programs, cuts for emergency shelter. Okay, maybe it's small, maybe it's not so small. Almost $2,000, anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 in cuts and Pell grants. That can be the difference of having an apartment to live in or not. Um, we don't know how these things go down. We can't just assume everyone has a functional family to take care of them. This is an America that is now starting to value the family. The past couple of decades, we've tried to value the family more, but it's too late for many. They don't have a support system. When they don't have a support system, they need government. We got fiscal conservative nuts. Let me repeat that. The most dangerous thing to our country on the planet is fiscal conservative nuts. They don't want to tax billionaires. They don't want to do anything to go after illicit money overseas. They just don't want any rules, okay? Because they're worried that one day they could become super wealthy and then they'll be affected by it, which they're not. They're not going to become super wealthy. You're not becoming a billionaire. It's highly unlikely. Meanwhile, I say that, I put a billionaire in front of us, and that is the Honorable William Gates. I'm going to throw his name out there as a great possibility for presidential candidate for the Democrat Party in 2028. Gates has the money, he has the experience, he has some warmth. He's really proven to me of late, when I was kind of down and out on William Gates. I now see it a little bit different, where he had the nerve to say Elon is the world's richest man, causing detriment to the world's poorest children. Now, I paraphrase that because Gates was more honest than I'm being about it. And Trump, it's Project 25. I mean, they tried really hard to lie about it. And then we have psychos on the GOP that say, hey, you have to lie. I've listened to these guys and I've heard them say, you have to lie. You can't tell them that you're going to cut the budget. So it's over for me as far as considering the GOP as a viable party. If you look at the state of Ohio and the South and other states that are ran by these fiscal conservative nuts, they're doing nothing for the poor, and they want to keep it that way, so they have a good source of labor that's always desperate enough to do their bidding. And with people for decades not being able to move forward, not to be able to jump social class, they're stuck in the same social class doing the same work for the richest people, the world's richest people. Now, just so you guys don't think I'm a rich person on here, my family, my dad was a cab driver and a janitor. My mother had to do house cleaning and dry cleaning, and she told me for years she worked for a rich family who did nothing for her. They didn't try to talk her into getting educated. They didn't try to get her a car. They didn't try to do anything for my mom but work her, use her labor up. Whether that's all they did. That's it. Completely didn't give a shit about her. So if you don't get the government to help you, you're not getting help from these wealthy families that just work you and keep you poor enough to have to keep working for you, and really start to make you hate the idea of even working. That's what makes a lot of people lazy. The idea that you don't have rights as a citizen, that more popular people with bigger families have more rights than you. That's insane. We can't have a civilized country if we continue to go down this road like every other country. We're going to have to make changes. What the GOP gets people on is that they're against abortion. Okay, that's really all they have as far as any ethical principles. They're against abortion. That's all they've got. And I'm going to suggest that the Democrats because they're always talking about we don't have enough births. I hear that from the GOP and maybe from some of the Democrats, but our population is not growing fast enough in certain demographics of America, and we need the immigrants. That's great. So how about the Democrats fight the Republicans, fight the GOP, stand up for what they believe in, not necessarily fight, fight's a bad word, but stand up for their belief by offering a package to pregnant mothers. Simply put, $8, $10, $12, $14,000 to have your kid as opposed to getting an abortion, right? There's got to be some way to swing this to encourage women to have their kid and not get an abortion and support the woman and the newly born child. If we're so against abortion in this country, the Democrats can throw that proposal out there and, let the GOP eat cabbage, okay? Raw cabbage or whatever it is. They're going to not be able to respond to that because they're always wanting to cut things. Everything gets cut except the money they make. And it's not going to be good for a lot of poor people. It's not going to be good for the country. I think the problems in the past came from a poor populace that didn't understand how to be grateful. That is one thing I've got to say, even if I'm for the poor, that they have to be taught gratitude and respect and civility. Not that wealthy people aren't all those things too. They need to be taught respect, civility, kindness, all these things. We're lacking in civil manners. We don't have that. And it's been going on. The 60s and 70s and the 80s brought up some of the nastiest people on the planet who were accused of getting all this welfare for decades. The Cadillac, the Cadillac welfare mama, things that really aren't that prevalent, but because one or two people did it, or they gave the perception that they were ripping off the system and they're ripping off the man, which should be a complete embarrassment to you if you're poor and you're getting help, and then you're laughing at the people, you're getting taxpayer money and you have no plans to become a better person. You're just a piece of crap. We know this. So Democrats do bear the burden of trying to make things more ethical. And I'm putting out there, consider William Gates as running for the 2028 Democrat presidential nominee. I think he's earned it the way he stood up to Elon Musk. He had the nerve to say what everybody was thinking, who could not articulate it. So hats off to Elon Musk. And this is Thoughts from the Deep State, the Melting Snowflake. House of Pearls are off. Subscribe, like, get back with you later. Hope to see you soon.